Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm reading today for Taurus energy and I'm reading ahead for October. So it's kind of predictive, but it should make some sort of sense now. Like maybe you can see like glimmers of this kind of on the horizon. I want to say your reading does have an element of kind of like warning, heads up, like you need to kind of keep your wits about you in October, Taurus. So just be ready for that. It feels like you've got some kind of low vibrational people around you who may be trying to take advantage of you in some sort of way. So take this as not so much of a prediction about what will definitely happen, but a warning of what could happen if you don't take proper precautions. So this is the benefit of these kind of like early warning readings. I've been able to read in advance, because what's the point of telling you about the situation you're currently in? Like sometimes that can really help just with validation, just bit with like, I've had readings where, you know, I've been going through something or I've been feeling something internally, and it's like the sort of thing that you just keep to yourself. You don't necessarily want to kind of like voice it. You know, just those worries, those niggles at the back of your mind and this sort of thing. And you just feel like you've not really got anyone to speak to about something. And then you'll watch a reading and it'll be 100% like your situation, and it's so validating and cathartic, and it's like a release to hear, you know, that the universe hears your problems, even if you're struggling alone. It's like the universe is aware, like there's something greater than ourselves. Like that has been so helpful to me in certain situations. But like I say, this feels a little bit like just be careful, Taurus, and then you can potentially avoid any kind of tricks or traps kind of set along your path. There's another car reversing outside my house. What is going on? So I went to start your reading, and like it was quite quiet. The moment I went to do your reading, like this car started reversing for ages outside my house. Like, you know, like it's a 3-point turn, get with it. And it was like back and two, back and two, back and two. And then like this other car kind of backed up along the entire street. And now there's another car turning around outside my house. So there could be something about interruptions, perhaps interruptions to your work. They could just be kind of like interruptions to your peace, because this card's come out twice for you. So this is the second spread that I did for you. I originally meant to do your reading a few days ago, kind of the day after Aries. But then I've just been really, really busy and I didn't have the time to kind of sit down and record. So the energy started to feel a bit stale with that first reading, so I redid it, and the message is definitely along the same lines. It's like you're not going to miss anything from that first reading, but it's being delivered in perhaps a more cohesive way. I do sometimes find this where, you know, I can do a reading and think, what is happening here? I need to sit with this for a while. And then I kind of redo the reading and it's all the same messages, but in a way where I'm like, oh, I know the message that I need to deliver now. But the funny thing is, like I say, this peace card came out twice for you. Let me just, I'm sorry, I've got like this. There we go. The lock was set of the focus. So this is talking to me just about, you know, whatever brings you peace. So it could be that you do things like meditation or yoga. Perhaps you do like deep breathing exercises. Perhaps you've got one of these apps where, you know, it can help you to kind of like get in the right mind frame. Perhaps you like to listen to certain music. Perhaps you like to have a long bath. You know, whatever it is that helps you to kind of like chill out, relax, kind of get almost like take yourself away from it all, even if it's just like mentally, even if you're in a crowded room and it's like, I'm just going to go inward for a second, take some deep breaths, kind of like ground myself. It's like, just be really aware, because I think that's going to be really, really helpful to you in October. So if you can start practicing these things now, the example that they're giving me is like when I was going to have my son, when I was pregnant, I started to do like the Lamar's didn't really work for me. There was something about it that just didn't click with my first child. So with my second child, I started to do my own version of it. It was like I counted to something like 10 forwards and then kind of like breathed out to the count of 10. So it's like I came up with my own rhythm, and I practiced it. Like if I was feeling stressed, I would do it. If I was kind of like doing something like pushing the buggy up the hill and there was a little bit kind of like physical exertion with it. I would do the breathing. So it's just about anytime that I felt any kind of stress, I would do my own breathing technique to kind of bring myself this sense of control and calm. So if you've tried these things in the past and they haven't worked for you, just play around with it and adapt it and find, find your own version of it that does work for you, because, sometimes things take a few goes to kind of take. Um, so yeah, whatever it is, and this is going to be unique to you, the individual watching this, just whatever brings you peace, whatever, when times get stressful, what brings you back into yourself, what grounds you, just practice it, because you might need it in October. Like, things might get a little bit stressful for you. So also, I was getting in the last reading, because it had this beauty card, which is a woman who's blindfolded, and she's got her hand out and she's touching a swan. And you can see here she's got her eyes closed, and then this eye card came out for you this time. So I'm getting this impression, and like I say, this kind of confirmed it for me in this reading, that you are trusting your own judgment in a situation. It's like you're not necessarily, I'm getting this feeling of like a lot of noise around you. I had this vision of kind of like a lot of stuff about butterflies coming through for you. I keep seeing butterflies like in my mind's eye, to the point where I felt like I was absolutely surrounded by butterflies. Or have you seen these kind of like viral videos where it's kind of like an outfit change, but people kind of like open a umbrella full of rose petals over the head, and all the rose petals fall down, and then that's when they have the transition. So it's got this feeling of like fluttery things around you, like lots of fluttery things in your environment. So it's kind of like things that are trying to distract you, or it's almost like things that are trying to catch your eye, right? Like shiny, colorful movement that's trying to catch your eye. So again, this thing about like close your eyes and go within and trust that inner voice could be very, very important to you. It's funny, I'm talking about petals, and then you've also got like the rose card, romance is in the air. It could be something specifically about roses or petals. Maybe somebody's called Rose. Even with the clouds, right? I don't know if there's like something about, maybe some of you are dating, or you've got somebody that you're interested in, but with this like rose and clouds, it's almost like there's some confusion around this. This is like the flutteriness of the atmosphere. Maybe it's like butterflies in your stomach or something around this person. Your heart races a little bit, but it's confusing, right? It's like almost like if the air was really thick with butterflies, it would restrict your view. Because this is also with beware of self-delusion and the dragon. Maybe dragons are symbolic for you. Maybe this is something about tattoos, right? Roses and dragons are quite common tattoos. Oh, the eye as well. I also saw eye jewelry. So it looked to me, like sometimes you can get kind of like the kind of indie jewelry kind of thing, like crystals and things like this, but sometimes you can get eyes. So it's kind of like, it was like a silver eye. I remember specifically it had like a lid, right? Or the upper bit of the makeup, like that was quite a thick bit of silver, and it had like a glass eye or something in it. So it's kind of like, like an eye shape. It was like trying to describe it because it was so specifically detailed. So it wasn't like, the blue eyes that you can get from like the Mediterranean, like Turkey, Greece, you get the blue eyes. It wasn't like that. It was more like it was an eye piece of jewelry. It makes me think of The Sims, like the eyeball ring, but it was much more like that's kind of like a dobby look. This was kind of more more skilled, I guess you would say, more finely crafted. Yeah, perhaps you want to wear some kind of eye jewelry. Maybe you do want to get kind of like a blue eye for protection, if you're aware of that kind of jewelry item. You also have this as well, rats, someone working against you behind your back. In the last reading you had, you need to protect yourself. I'm getting this feeling of like the wedge is looking to me like the cheese. So it says someone is trying to come between you and a friend or something you want. So you're definitely getting that in the reading. We'll talk about that in the cards in a bit. So just be aware that there might be a third party intrusion into some kind of relationship that you have. It's kind of like, but it's something about the rat and the cheese. It's like, because I was also getting like the carrot and the stick. I kept on seeing carrots, which is funny because you've also got rabbit here as well. Too much concern with sexual matters. So it's like, get the cheese, get the carrot. It's like the incentive that's going to draw this person out. Can you see it's kind of coming out of the grass, out of the bushes? So you know, this thing will be revealed, I want to say. I'm just going to run through my notes and then we'll kind of dive deep into the cards. So key, money path. I was getting this feeling of like a new house or an opportunity. So it's kind of like getting the keys to the house. I did receive a message last night saying the house is yours. I don't want anyone to get too excited because you've definitely got something about legalities and kind of like offers and things like this. Maybe somebody's making an offer on a house. It's kind of like maybe you're getting this, maybe this is a thing for you because someone in work kind of put an offer in for a house and they were so excited because their offer was accepted and they came in like, I've got the house. So it could definitely be something for you, but I don't want to kind of get anyone's hopes up. It could just be a message for one person, or it could be something that's going on with like Taurian energy kind of in the collective. So but if that makes sense to you, it makes sense to you. But yeah, it's kind of like, it's feeling quite money related. I got the word key, but I was reading it as K, like not K, because it's pronounced key, but you know, spelled K. So it's kind of like wharfs and boat terminology, like a key, right? Quay, I think it's spelled, which was giving me like canal boats. So it's kind of like maybe you're buying kind of a holiday home, or maybe you're buying something like a canal boat where it's kind of like a portable home, a caravan, something like this. And also the month July could be significant to you. You could be dealing with somebody who's a July birthday, so this would be July Leo or July Cancer. I think if I'm getting that right. I always get mixed up when I say that. I was getting the Five of Pentacles, and it didn't feel to me so much like you were being kept out of a situation. It felt like you were trying to keep somebody else out of a situation. So again, it's like something's going on and it's like you don't want this other person to know about it. So perhaps it is something like, you know, you're buying a house, you're buying a car, you're buying a caravan or something like this, and it's like there's somebody that you don't want. It's like you don't want this person to know. Maybe you don't want this person involved, you don't want this person to come round to your house. So it's like you're trying to keep them out of the situation, like you don't want them to know about it for some reason. I wrote locked out. And again, it could be you. Maybe you are locked out of a house situation. I hope not, but it did feel like you were doing this to somebody externally. But I wrote, but they will figure it out. So it's like you're keeping somebody at arm's length, you're keeping somebody on the outside of a situation. It doesn't have to be necessarily like the buying a house situation. It could just be generally like there's somebody that you're kind of keeping at arm's length, somebody that you don't want involved in something. Sorry, my cat wants to come in. Hold on, guys. Okay, Taurus, so we've got a surprise visitor. You've got a butt. You've got a butt in your reading at the moment. But that's fine because we're not doing the cards at the moment, so he can come. This is his favourite place to sleep. So because it took me a few days to do your reading, he'd kind of like knocked all the cards around and got fluff all over them. So that was really pleasant as well. So I definitely did need to kind of like tidy up my desk at that point. Hi, are you going to listen to Taurus's reading? Sorry, I talked to him in cat mum voice. I know it's annoying. So what do you have? Yeah, like, and oh my god, so the next note, this is crazy. Like, I am not making this up, guys. Don't knock my camera. So it says, like here, they keep trying to get in. Can you see this? Cat, you're gonna have to move like a cat. It says, they keep trying to get in like a cat in the upstairs window. Stop moving it. Hold on, guys, again. There we go. Absolute monster. He's such a big boy. He just wants to eat constantly. He's like Garfield. He's very, very lazy. He's a house cat as well, so I think he gets a bit bored. He doesn't get enough exercise, and he's a rotund little man. The vet's not going to be happy with him when we take him back. Yeah, so it does say, like I say, they keep getting in like a cat via the upstairs window. Sorry about my terrible handwriting, guys. There could be something about handwriting as well. I went to the pharmacy yesterday and they kind of like made a note for me. And the pharmacist had really beautiful handwriting. So handwriting could be something significant. Maybe you're trying to do calligraphy or improve your handwriting somehow. I'm getting like writing out invitations, you know, like people use calligraphy to write out invitations. So again, it's like maybe there's somebody that you don't want involved, you're kind of keeping them out of the situation, but they keep getting in like a cat by the upstairs window. Deliver us from evil. If for any of you that do kind of mantras or prayers, you may just want to kind of like make sure you're doing those this month. When I kind of went into your energy, I did feel this kind of like energy shift again. The idea of kind of like the butterflies or the thickness of the air. That was the first thing that came through for me, kind of like this. As I went into meditation, it was kind of like the air was thick. So again, it could be something where you've got the Five of Swords kind of twice in this reading. Oh God, he wants to go out now, guys. He's such a strange boy. It could be the maybe there's an invitation or something, you can try and get this person out of it. Maybe they do cause conflict. Maybe it's a situation where, you know, it could be like people in your family or something, like certain people just don't get along with each other, and you know that if all these people are in one room, things are going to kick off. It could be something like that. So it's kind of like, if I keep this person out of it, you know, hopefully they won't find out. I'll make it up to them. Maybe I'll take them out separately. It could be something like that. But yeah, it's kind of like if they hear about it, they'll want to come. There could be something specifically about the 10th of October. That could be a really significant date for you. The song that randomized for your last reading was the Shakira song with Bizarrap, which is like, it was her kind of like breakup revenge song where she's going kind of like, I'm awesome, like you were the basic bitch kind of thing. So maybe somebody has gone through a breakup. Again, this could be like two people who are in your family and they've broken up, and you're like, if I have them in the same room, it's gonna kick off. So I don't know. Butterflies and moths, I've made a note of that. Princess and the Wolf. So it's kind of giving Little Red Riding Hood. I know that she's not a princess, but there was something about like them wearing like a cloak, you know, like the wolf puts on the cloak. When I saw this, from the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit deck, the fox card was on the face up card, and then underneath it was the wolf. So again, it's someone who kind of looks really foxy. Maybe this is somebody who kind of dresses up, they dress really well, maybe they wear very, very nice fabrics, or kind of interesting, maybe even flamboyant clothes, but it's like they're almost like a wolf in sheep's clothing. Like they're I don't know, there's something about like the wolf looking a little bit smaller than, sorry, the fox looking a little bit smaller and less threatening than a wolf, which is like a bigger kind of like more there's something about its ability to stand its ground. Like you could be near a fox and kind of like make a loud noise and it's going to run away, where the wolf might be a little bit more prepared to kind of like stand there and challenge you. Something about like the fox is harder to deal. Sorry, the wolf is more hard to deal with. It's interesting that I keep on mixing up what fox and wolf. If you see feathers on the ground, I was like looking at my little duck feathers here. Like, here we go. So this is my I like going to kind of like the duck pond, and there was a lot of kind of like these kind of I guess they're like mallard feathers with the like the blue on them. I'm not quite sure what kind of feathers they are, what kind of bird they're from, but you know, sometimes you'll be walking along and you'll see feathers like this, like a cat's got a bird. It's like that's going to be a warning sign for you in October to not go that way. Now, it doesn't have to specifically be feathers, although definitely be on the lookout for if you come into that situation. It could be a warning sign that I had from Spirit, and I almost need to go back and find the readings of this and check the timing. But I remember around the time that my dad passed away, I came across a dead squirrel that was kind of rotting at the side of the road. Like I say, it's kind of like almost like a warning sign. There were some other messages with that I kind of needed to pay attention to. So yeah, just watch out from signs from Spirit. It could be anything as well. It could be you know, intuition. It could be butterflies. It could be, I want to say the butterflies are a positive omen for you. That's coming through with like guardian angel energy. But like I say, it's almost confusing you. It's like maybe the signs are confusing you or something like that. God, the cat wants to come in again. I don't know what to do with this boy. Yeah, definitely something about interruptions for you this month, 100%. You're trying to get your work done, kids are annoying you, that sort of thing. Okay, yeah. So feathers on the ground, don't go that way. It's like you'll know it when you see it, right? If the universe gives you a warning to not go in a certain direction, it doesn't even have to be a physical direction. It could be like you're thinking a certain thing, and the universe is like, don't go down that path, don't go down that mental path, don't start that thought process. Or it could be a relationship, and you're getting signs to not kind of like take part in that relationship at this time. It's like trust the signs. Um, I was also getting like with the Princess and the Wolf, I was kind of getting like Belle and the Wolves in Beauty and the Beast, which was interesting to me because you did have this kind of like strength card with the woman and the lion, right? Beauty and the Beast. Um, and this thing about kind of her seeing the best in the beast, right? It's like her seeing the, you know, her seeing the good in him and bringing that out. I'm almost getting like the opposite for you because it's kind of like a fox with the wolf disguised. It's kind of like you're thinking the best about someone, but really, you know, you're giving them too much credit or you're giving them too much benefit of the doubt. Like they're not good, I want to say. Again, trust your own judgment on that, but be very careful because you do have cards like someone's working against you behind your back. You need to protect yourself, and there's definitely a not good energy around you in October. You had the beauty card twice in the last reading. There's something about eyes closed. Again, like it's kind of like you're closing your eyes to something. You're not looking at something that you should be looking at, or you know, you need to shut your eyes and see beyond the physical surface and see what's inside a person. Like it could be that somebody's dressing, but the cat's just been so annoying in this reading. I don't know what's up with him. So it could be I mean, maybe this is like a sign, right? Maybe the cat is giving me some kind of sign. I do associate him with like spiritual protection. What are you doing? He's attacking a fish picture that my son made at school. Why and a cat picture? Again, like you've got this hunter card, right? Like cats hunt fish. I've moved the pictures and he's lost interest. Just like wandered off now. Yeah, so this thing about eyes closed, like she's got her eyes closed in the peace card, right? So it's kind of like, maybe it's like stuff that's done when spirit's not looking, something like that. I'm not sure. You have owl references. So you had 2 owl cards in your last reading and you've got the owl card again now. This is coming through like a wise person because you've got the owl and the fool. And you also you've got cards that say, in the last reading, you had someone's behaving stupidly, right, the fool, and advice from a wise person. So you've got the same messages in this reading. Someone's behaving stupidly, advice from a wise person. Now, you could be one of these people. You could be the person giving advice or acting stupidly. But do definitely kind of heed advice from people who know more than you, especially in terms of like legal advice. You've got like 3 justice cards here. 2 of them are from the same deck, which again, I'll kind of talk about when we get into the cards. So if somebody's giving you like legal advice or advice about contracts or anything like that, it's like listen to them. They do actually know what they're talking about. I did have this yesterday where I kind of went to like I say, I went to the pharmacy to ask them about something. Excuse me, and it's like they solved all my problems for me. So I kind of had I've got little things. I've got a lot of like skin problems. I just have really sensitive skin, so things flare up all the time. And I went about one thing and they were like, oh yeah, it's related to that other thing. And I was like, oh, okay, you might have just solved that other problem for me because I thought it was this. Yeah, it's kind of like he knew what he was talking about. So I need to pay attention to that. There could be something, now this is one of the more serious messages, there could be something about addiction, like somebody around you who has some sort of addiction. It's interesting, you've got this card about like not taking the drink, right? Now it doesn't have to be drink, it could be any kind of addiction. Again, this idea of like the cheese, it's like there's something that's like almost like tempting you. Something that's kind of like tempting you, but it's a trick or it's like a false offer or something like that. It's like that's the tool being used to kind of pull you and somebody else apart is the way it's coming through. You had the card pay attention to your finances and it landed on my purple pants. I I shouldn't go shopping when when I'm in Taurus energy, because Taurus is like all about kind of like physical luxury and things like this. And I ended up I went into Primark for one thing, and I came out with all these like silk pajamas, and I've got these like purple silk pajamas. Now, if you know the history of the color purple and like purple dye, it was associated with like the wealthiest people. I mean, these are Primark pants, right? They weren't expensive, but in the olden days, like purple was a very rare color and it was a very expensive dye. So if you got purple silk fabric, like that was a sign of like luxury and wealth. And so with the card, pay attention to your finances, landing on my clothes, it's giving me something about like maybe somebody who dresses very well, or maybe you're spending too much money on clothes, or but it feels like it's more of a trick, right? It's like this person's trying to appear healthy and wealthy, but they're not. They've got some kind of addiction, is the way it's coming through. um So it could also be if somebody has got some kind of addiction that they're feeding, with the message, pay attention to your finances. It could be that this person is trying to get items or money off you. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're stealing from you, but they could be taking advantage of your generous nature, because when somebody is deep into an addiction, a lot of the money that they have goes on that addiction, right? Because they're addicted. So it creates this kind of again, I feel like you're giving somebody the benefit of the doubt, because perhaps you knew them before the addiction, or perhaps you know what they're like when they're healthy. So it's kind of like you know who they are. The addiction isn't really who they truly are, right? That's part of the illness. So it's kind of like you're seeing their better nature, when actually it's kind of like the devil's got a bit of a grip on them at the moment. And you know, you might be like, this person would never steal from me, but the addiction might steal from you. You know, the addiction might make somebody do something that is very out of character. So be very, very careful. Again, you did have this thing about the keys to the house, or the keys to the car, or something like that. It's if you're particularly wealthy, especially if you're showing off your wealth, again, the idea of kind of like, I'm wearing the silk pajama bottoms. If you're showing off the wealth or wearing the wealth, and there's people around you who, it doesn't even have to be somebody you know, right? You could be, you're walking down the street and, so I heard this message about a family member who is wearing a very expensive watch at the moment that's an heirloom. And I was like, I personally wouldn't wear something that's an heirloom piece, kind of like just walking around, going to the pub and things, because you know, somebody might see that and rob you. So it's kind of like, don't show off your wealth. Um, don't dress too fancy in October. You know, don't brag about your wealth, because people who are in the grip of a more lower vibrational energy may want to take that from you. So there you go, that's the warning. Also, there's something about an outsider perspective, because sometimes you can get into situations, Taurus, where they're giving me, Capricorn gets this message sometimes where it's like, if you lie down with dogs you get fleas. And I don't want to kind of be derogatory to kind of your friends or anything like that. You know, maybe this is like friends that you party with or something like that. But it's kind of like you are the company you keep. I think that's maybe a nicer way of putting it. So if you're hanging around with a lot of people who perhaps are in low vibrational energy, you can sometimes think that that's normal. So for example, if you go out and all your friends are taking substances, or maybe you're going out and all your friends are drinking all the time, you may think that's normal behavior. I grew up in England, right? I know what I'm talking about. I grew up in England and I grew up in a pub, so drinking is part of the culture, right? It's very, very normal, but it's not always normal, right? You can go into you know, like a friend's house and they're having one glass of wine over dinner, where, you know, the environment that I was in as a child was like, because it was a pub, it was like people getting absolutely legless day after day. And it's not it's like situational is the way it's coming through. So there could be a situation where you're thinking something's very, very normal, but actually maybe if you get an outsider perspective, or if you step out of that situation, it's not. It's making me think of like children who grow up in um families who are struggling with things like addiction, or who perhaps and I'm not talking about like wealth or status here, but you know, sometimes you can come from a family that's like, there's a lot of drama, there's a lot of fighting, and you could think that's perfectly normal. It's like, well, families fight, but it's like you could go to a friend's house and they could have like almost like a hallmark family. It's like they're all getting along, you know, they're resolving their differences peacefully. It's like a different way of being. So again, it's kind of like you think something's normal until you step out of the situation and really see it for what it is. So again, with the kind of Beauty and the Beast energy, it could be a relationship that's not great. All right, so what do you have? You definitely have some confusion or some fears. You've got the moon, yeah, the moon and the clouds. So there could be a sense of kind of like maybe not knowing who you can trust, not knowing who your friends are at this time. I definitely want to say that if your intuition is telling you that something's not right, or that people have ulterior motives, it could be worth, it's like, give it the grain of salt, right? It doesn't mean you have to act on it. It doesn't mean you have to like block someone, cancel them, have an argument with them. But if your intuition's saying something's not adding up here, I've actually got something like 2 add 2. I don't understand my own note. I don't understand my own note, but I've got smart 2 add 2. It's like you're putting 2 and 2 together, right, and getting 3, and you're like, hang on, this, something's not adding up, something's feeling off. It could be kind of like that thing where you ask people for answers and they're giving you like half answers, and you're like, why don't they just tell me the truth? It's like, well, they're trying not to, right? There's something that they're trying to hide. So something doesn't feel right. And I want to say you really need to trust that. Somebody's definitely acting foolish with the Fool. You could know with the Owl. The Owl is almost like High Priestess energy, right? It's like intuition and wisdom. It's kind of like Libra, Scorpio. Maybe there's somebody who's a Libra, Scorpio cusp, or who has like Libra with a Scorpio moon or something like that. Sorry, I don't know why I'm holding the Fool. Like Libra with the Scorpio moon, because Owl to me can talk about like wisdom. You've got a lot of Libra with all this justice energy. So the Owl talks about like wisdom, legal systems, like practical learning, but it also talks about kind of like intuition, High Priestess energy. So yeah, there's definitely something going on. Again, I'm really getting this strong feeling of there's something not good in the air, because you've got the hunter, the lake, and the deer, right? It's like the hunter hunts the deer at the lake. The deer to me is kind of the princess energy. It's like normally a vulnerable young woman. The funny thing is, I don't want to say too much. Yeah, I'm just working out how much I can say without giving too much away. So I asked, there was a certain day and I was like, how's the day going to go? And I got the deer card with a certain symbol. And the deer card to me means normally a vulnerable young woman, or our inner child being vulnerable, right? And I was like, oh, I wonder how that's going to come through. And I didn't really see how it's going to come through. And then I was sat down with somebody eating lunch, and they told me, they just blurted out like everything that was going on for them. It's like this stream of consciousness. They just kind of completely opened up and told me all this stuff. And it was a kind, well, she was a young girl, and she was in kind of a tricky family situation, and she kept on she was talking to me about this specific symbol that had come out with the deer card. And again, I don't want to go too much into that because I would want to kind of protect her. So yeah, it's kind of like somebody, there could be a young female who is, it's kind of like the hunter energy is like preying on that energy, right? It's kind of like, I'm getting the word trophy, so it's very, I don't like it. With the Swan card as well, it's kind of giving me, you know, people who do like hunting season. It's funny because you have the swan on the beauty card as well. So there could be something very symbolic about swans. You could be very beautiful. So if you are a beautiful young woman, just be very, very careful, because, you know, that wolf energy is around you. I'm going to show you a couple of cards. Hold on. I'm going to pull them out to kind of show you them from the last reading. I just want to make sure I'm covering everything. Like I said, I did do 2 readings for you. So there's stuff coming back up in this reading that I kind of want to touch on from the last reading. So you had the beauty card. Well, you had 2 different beauty cards in your last reading. And one of them was this swan here, right? So you've got swan imagery. And again, it's kind of like the ugly duckling that grows into a beautiful swan. For some of you, there could definitely be something about a child for you. Maybe a child who was a bit of an ugly duckling, but she's grown into a beautiful young woman, right? She's grown up to be very attractive, even though she was a little bit awkward in her youth. This child could have gone into, I wonder if I can find the card. This child could have gone into some kind of institution. I'm saying that because of the image on one of the cards from your last reading, and also because you've got so much legal energy, right? So it could even be like child protection or adoption systems, you know, like legalities around children. Just see if I can see. I don't actually think it's from this deck. And like I say, this kind of like Beauty and the Beast energy, you had this moon card, right, with all this kind of the fears and the moon and the flapping around this person. So it had this thing about, I just want to kind of like tell you the story of the last reading. Really want to find, sorry, there's so many cards, so I didn't realize I was going to kind of like talk about this until this point. So it's kind of, it could just be for one of you, right? I don't want to freak anyone out, but it's something to do with it seems like a bit of a Romeo and Juliet story. Here you go. It's like the child being taken into, it's like the child being taken into an orphanage or into a school or into a nunnery or something like that. So this could be something historical. Maybe some of you are adopted or maybe you foster children or something like that. But it feels like, because with this card here, it had this feeling of like the past coming back to haunt someone, right? It's like the demons from the past, this person's shadow. It's like looking over his shoulder at this thing that's coming back to haunt him. And then this like child energy as well. So it's kind of could be something where it could be a situation where, and I'm not judging anyone, right? We're all just dealing with life as best as we can. It could be that somebody at some point in their life had a child that was, maybe they felt like it wasn't the right time to have that child, so they gave them up for adoption, or maybe they were battling with some addictions and they put the child up for adoption. Could be something along those lines. It feels like historical past. Or it could be something that's going on currently for you if, for example, this is to do with like child protection services. Yeah. But again, this idea of kind of like, so there was this message in the last reading that was very much like spirit is protecting. It's like, yes, there's bad energies around. Yes, there's scary energies around. But you had this kind of like protective guardian angel spirit, or this person did, if this is like a child involved with you, because it's almost like spirits. It could be again, like the child is moving home, right? Like spirits carrying the child. The child like is like asleep, like they don't even know, like they're not in distress, right? It's like they barely know what's happening. So it's kind of like spirits moving this child into a better situation potentially. Again, that could just be a side message. Again, it feels historical. The funny thing is I have these messages for you, Taurus, especially with the moon as well. Like the moon can be pregnancy. So again, it's like maybe somebody got someone pregnant in the past and they're finding out about that now. Maybe like this is kind of like the courts being like, no, you need to pay, what is it, like not alimony? No, that's when you get divorced, right? You need to pay like maternity pay, or I don't know. That's kind of a weird thing. What's it called? It's like when you're separated from the parent of your child, but you still pay money. There's like a specific word for it. So it could be something like that, like an agreement of kind of like, how much this person's going to pay the mother or something like that, or how much this person's going to pay the child. But again, it's kind of like if you are separated from a young female, you could be very, very worried about who they're hanging around with, like especially with the dragon energy, right? Like who their friends are, who they're hanging around with, are they being properly protected? Those kinds of things. I want to really reassure you as well, like temporary problems, like the clouds are going to clear on this. And I want to say you do actually have a good outcome in this reading. Oh, I was going to say the funny thing is there was a story I was reading in the newspaper about a this is upsetting, so trigger warning, but it was from like the 50s. Somebody was like clearing out their attic and they found a suitcase and it had the body of a baby in it. And they dated it, and it dated to kind of like the 50s. And presumably this was around the time of, I mean, there's still people alive now, so this could be something that happened to your grandparents, right? Maybe your grandparent was adopted, maybe they don't know, because sometimes children would be taken in, and you know, they didn't want the stigma of kind of what had happened to the family situation in the past. So you know, people just kind of, especially kind of like during wartime as well, this happened, you know, people taking Jewish children and just be like, yeah, this is my child. So it's kind of like maybe there was a child that was taken in by somebody else. So you know, and they were never told that they were adopted. You know, they always just assumed that they were you know, that the parents were the parents, you know. And I want to say they are the people who raise you, are your parents. You know, maybe just not biologically, but they're your parents. It doesn't invalidate any of the love or the guidance or the comforts or protection or anything like that that they've given you, if they're good parents, right? Obviously if they're bad parents, that's a different story. Okay, moving swiftly on, you've got adventure south, bravery. So I want to say there's something coming up for you. It could be on the horizon in October, where it's like you're going to have to be brave. Maybe you're going to have to cross an ocean, because you're going to go on this adventure, right? So be brave. Purity, eyes, companionship, dog, and transformation. So I want to say that there is a very, very pure relationship for you. You've got like the Two of Cups showing here. You've got this kind of like twinning energy. So there is somebody who's kind of like a very genuine friend for you. Maybe you're going to go on an adventure to go and see them, or you're going on an adventure with this person. But then transformation and pressure. So this is talking to me about the butterfly and the chrysalis moment. You know, it's a very intense process for them, but it does create them, you know, like this golden energy. It's like it turns the ugly duckling into the swan through this intense experience. Obviously protect yourself though, don't do anything silly. All this stuff about all this justice energy. So the original card, the original deck that I shuffled was this deck. It's the, what is it, the Good Tarot? Hang on guys, let me just double check. No, it's not the Good Tarot. The Law of Attraction Tarot. These are all by Los Scarabo, that kind of brand of tarot cards. So Law of Attraction Tarot here, with the Justice card. And again, it's giving kind of like law courts, a decision being made. I feel like you could be in negotiations, you know, I feel like some of you are definitely waiting for an offer. You've got this Three of Wands here, and maybe like shouldering a lot of responsibilities while you wait for this communication. That's the Ten of Wands and the Knight of Swords there. So yeah, waiting for a decision, waiting for maybe a decision from the courts, waiting for an offer, a legal contract, something like that. You know, you're having to shoulder a lot of responsibilities and burdens while you wait. It's kind of like this in-between period is a difficult period for you. Yeah, look at the interesting cards here as well. It's like it goes from kind of this combative energy to this handshaking energy. So this could definitely be something where there's some kind of like legal battle or disagreement going on. Again, doesn't have to be legal. It can be things like work contracts, anything where it's like you have to sign on the dotted line, right? Anything where there's paperwork involved is the realm of the Justice card. But the Justice card also carries an energy of like truth, justice, authority, clarity, everything being made right. So the fact that you've got so many Justice cards is a very, very positive omen for you if you're going through something that's very difficult. Now, so I saw this Justice card, and then as I was shuffling this deck, which is the In-Between Tarot, this card flashed out at me. So this is the only card, sorry, I've got the lock on again. Sorry, this is the only card that is that I intentionally pulled out for you on purpose, apart from the ones that you saw me do on camera. So it flashed to me but didn't come out. But because I'd already seen the Justice card, and because when it flashed, it came with a message, I wanted to talk about it. And then The funny thing is though, because it flashed at me and I carried on shuffling, and then the underlying of this deck. So this is the true underlying of this deck. This was what was on the bottom when I flicked it over. It's the wheel card, but you can see here it's the Justice card, and it looks like the Justice card, right? This is the figure that's on the Justice card. So it's like you've got double Justice on the underlying, and because this one had flashed at me, I knew I had to go and get that one back out as well, because this is the true Justice card in this deck. So again, there could be something about a change of fortune in a legal case, a change of something unexpected going on in a legal case. The thing is, the person in this card here, you can see it goes into the hangman. These people are going to hang up the hanged man, right? And then justice is here to kind of intervene, or oversee the process, right? So it's like if you're gonna string this guy up, obviously I'm not saying that anyone should do anything like that or take the law into their own hands, right? It's kind of like if this person's going to be found guilty, you need the adjudicator there, you need the justice card there to make sure that this is done properly. It's something like that. But it was coming through like in this case, it was coming through like legal intervention, where perhaps there could be some kind of conflict. There's 5 people, so it's almost like the 5 of Swords, which you've got twice in your reading. So I'm gonna just have a drink of water, and then we'll go to your actual spread. So this is kind of like the storyline element of the reading. Give me a second. Okay, so the cat just once they opened the door, he decided he was going to go somewhere else. So he only wanted to come in because the door was shut, basically. He wanted to come in and cause mischief. Sometimes he likes to come in and sleep on the bed, which is why I kind of like let him in. But no, he wasn't looking to sleep on the bed. He was looking to come and disrupt your reading. So again, there could be somebody very disruptive around you. Right, okay. So your reading. I want to say you are juggling. It's not just you. There's you and this other person. It's like you're both spinning plates in the air. You're both juggling things. I want to say it's because with the 3 of Wands, it's like because you're waiting for something, you're waiting for information, you're waiting for news. Just the look of this in general, right? It's like, she's got all these burdens, she's carrying all this weight, she's got all these responsibilities that she's kind of managing and juggling with on her own. I want to say you and this other person, you're both managing separate issues, because the girl's kind of juggling these kind of like coins or orbs, the guy's juggling the wands back there. So whoever the feminine energy is, I want to say that she's juggling finances, right? So it could be that you're trying to make ends meet, it could be that you're working multiple jobs to kind of like, to pay your rent, right? It's you've got this juggling finances, or juggling, with it being kind of like a pentacles, it could even be like juggling projects or juggling resources. It doesn't have to be money. Maybe this is something where it's like you've got 2 different skill sets, and you're having to kind of like dance between these 2 different skill sets, because it's kind of like you've got to keep both of these things up in the air. The guy juggling the wands, this could be like creative projects, or again, it's almost, I'm getting with the Fool, it's almost something like this person took on too many things, right? Like they kind of like jumped at a chance. It's almost like he's actually dropping them, right? He's kind of, or is he firing them? Is it almost like the 8 of Wands? So if you know the imagery of the 8 of Wands, it's like communication coming in. So it's almost like the girl's juggling, and the guy's like almost like sending communication or taking action in her direction. But it was originally coming through like you and this other, which I want to say is a 2 of Cups energy for you. It's kind of like it's coming through with like somebody who twins you. So it could be that you've got a literal twin. Some of you, maybe you're interested in kind of like twin flames. I want to say that there's the pinch of salt for me. There's the not that I don't believe in that, but I think a lot of people adopt that terminology and think that they're in one of those relationships when actually they're just in a toxic relationship. So again, I don't like to use that terminology in my own readings. I'd rather talk about what this relationship feels like than try and put any kind of label on it. So in your specific reading, it's coming through like this could be a sibling, it could be a twin, it could be a 2 of Cups energy, which is like maybe a friend, but you mirror each other, or you're very, very similar in a lot of ways. So it's coming through somebody that you are. The feeling that's coming through with it is like you both care about each other, but you could be at some distance from each other. It doesn't feel toxic in any sort of way. It almost feels like supportive or caring, or like there's concern for each other. It's almost like you want to be together, right? You want to be hand in hand with this person. It could also be that you've got twins, right? You've got twin children, something like that, or two children. It's like, but I see it as like you see each other as very, very equal. You see each other as very similar. Like you should be hand in hand is the way it's coming through. And yet you're both kind of like juggling your own things, juggling different things. So again, maybe it's romantic for you. I'm not seeing the Lovers card. Just take it as it resonates. But again, you just be very, very careful, because you do have, you beware of self-delusion. So don't tell yourself stories that aren't true, right? Whoever this person is, I am seeing them as a match to your energy, right? It's like you could be mirroring this person. You could be going through kind of like almost like parallel lines, like what's happening to you, a very similar situation is happening to them. You know, like the problems that you're dealing with, they're dealing with very similar problems. Because this is then followed by, so it was the Magician card into the High Priestess. So you can see it's actually, sorry, the viewfinder's not doing very well today. The Magician card, but it's the Magician into the High Priestess because it's the in-between tarot. And then from a different deck, you've got the High Priestess. So it's like the Magician, High Priestess follows, you've got the High Priestess. So it has this feeling of maybe you two are very spiritual. Maybe it's kind of like you're both at the same table, like using the same spiritual gifts is the way it's coming through, even though perhaps you come from different backgrounds, right? They're from different decks. So it's kind of like, even though you and this person perhaps were raised in different families. So if this was a twin, it'd be like you were raised in one part of the world in one environment, and they were raised in a very, very different environment, in a different place with a different family, right? A different part of the world, different culture perhaps, and yet somehow your lives have brought you to this same place, this same table, where even though perhaps you're even from different religions, right? These are different, like the spiritual practice are from different religions or different spiritual beliefs or different cultures. It's like somehow you're still managing to be doing the exact same thing, is the way it's coming through. It's like your energy is different, but it is a match to each other. You're working with the same source material, something like that. Can you see as well, it's like they've got two pillars and they've got two pillars. Oh my goodness, one of my notes that I forgot to write down. So this is looking to me like stepping inside the temple, or stepping inside the Four of Wands. So if you know the meaning of the Four of Wands card, it talks about celebrating milestones. So it can talk about you know, a wedding, a funeral, a christening, or you know, some kind of some milestone in life that you're celebrating, but I call it my tent pegs card. So it's kind of like if you imagine you're putting up a tent, and you need to put the tent pegs in, or you need to, you know, you're building something and you need to put the posts in. It's like the more sturdy those posts are, the more deep you dig, the more time and care and attention you take into kind of like really, you know, maybe you have like some kind of like concrete base if you've ever put like a washing line. It's kind of like the more secure those tent pegs are, the better the tent is going to stand. So if this was like building a home, you'd want to make sure you were laying the foundations really well. So it's like the four pillars that you're building something on is you want to make sure that they're really, really, really stable. Now, one of the images that I saw for you, Taurus, was it was like one of these pillars, but it was a tower of pound coins. Now, the thing is, you're like, it might be, again, this idea of kind of like showy wealth, or like something that looks really good, but actually it's not going to be secure. If you had a tower of pound coins, it'd be very easy to kind of knock it over, almost like Jenga, right? You take one out, it's going to like destabilize the whole thing. So it could be something to do with, if you are buying a house, it could be something to do with the initial investment, right? The initial investment into the house. It's like you could buy a house and you could, you know, decorate it. You could put up wallpaper. You could get some nice furnishings. But if it's got shaky foundations, if it's got cracks in the foundations, like that's not going to matter in the long run, right? It's because you're going to be facing some serious problems. So it's kind of like if you're going to spend the money on it, kind of like what I did to my house. I bought the worst house in the best area that I possibly could to get my kids into good schools. with the idea of kind of like, if you buy a house that's in bad condition, anything you do to it is going to be an improvement, right? But it has been quite a big money investment in things like new windows, new boiler. I've had to have the roof fixed, insulation, which thankfully I got like a free thing from the government for that. Um, what else as well? Like just there's so much going on that's like structural. So things like wallpaper, you know, tiling in the bathroom, it's not been a priority because the priority has gone to improving the structure, not improving the facade. So again, there's definitely a message coming through with that. Right, it's like, get the structure right, get the foundations right. Don't make this all about the window dressing, or don't, you know, if you're spending money on something, don't, it's like you do, it's like true wealth, right? You know, people talk about, there's a bit of a trend of this at the moment on social media. I've noticed this idea of like new money and old money. New money tends to be showy, so it's like head to toe Gucci, you know, like when you buy a designer brand but it's got the logo plastered all over it so everybody knows that you're wearing Gucci. It's like, look how wealthy I am, I've made it, kind of thing. Where like old money tends to be understated quality, right? It's like timeless pieces that you're going to get a lot of use out of. It's like understated wealth. And there is a little bit of kind of maybe like ego or like derogatory attitudes behind like that, the idea of like the new money, old money trend. You know, it is a bit of a snobby theme, a snobby way of looking at things, but I think there is some truth to it. I think is also something about race relations in there, which I don't want to get into in this reading, but just to say that I'm noting that because it's a problematic trend. Um, so the Two of Pentacles here. So again, it's got this feeling of you and this other person, like you and the Magician and the High Priestess, right? Juggling things separately, like working on something separately, but then it's almost like they come to help you. I want to say that maybe that this is the communication. It's like, I can see you're struggling. I can see that you've got your hands full, right? So I'm going to come and help you with this. And I'm going to share the workload, right? Because then you've got the Two of Pentacles, but it's like the two people are hand in hand. It's like they've got a pentacle each, is the way it's coming through. So this friend who is like you, but it's like almost like the parallel lines have come to a point where it's kind of like we're very, very different, but we're on this the same point in the timeline, something like that. And so they see you struggling, they come to help, right? They show up for you. But then you have this other character here. So it's Knight of Coins, Queen of Coins. Could be some kind of like mother person, or because she's pregnant, right? Could be an earth sign. This would be like Virgo, Capricorn. But can you see how in this card here, like, you know, this person who's come to help you, who said, okay, give me one of those pentacles, you work on that one, I'll work on that one, or you take that responsibility, I'll take this responsibility. I know it looks like the hotel from The Shining, guys, right? This is from the spooky tarot, was the Haunted House tarot. So everything's a little bit spooky, but just put that aside for a second. I'm seeing it as a positive thing. So you and this other person, right? It's like, it's almost like two dolls. It's like maybe this is like some kind of mother figure or a boss, and they treat you like a pair of dolls, right? Like they dress you up, something like that. You know, some mothers are you know, mothers show love in different ways, and I'm not criticizing, but you do get people who you know, the children will turn up at school and the hair will be braided like French braids. You know, they'll have like, you know, clean ironed expensive clothing on. You know, their faces will be washed, their teeth will be brushed, they will show up looking like a little princess. But you know, it doesn't take long, like either interacting with that child or talking to that child, or you know, looking behind the surface level to see that, you know, something's not right. This is just, you know, again, that idea of like the purple silk. It's like, this is just a cover for something else that's lacking. It's like the mother doesn't show them, the mother shows them love through buying them things, not through listening to them or caring about them, something like that. Again, I'm not criticizing kind of like true Queen of Coins, true Knight of Coins, but there's something about, because it's like she's dressing them up, right? It's like she's putting these, it's like putting badges, you know, sometimes like children, like, you know, you give them kind of like a gold badge or a gold star. It's like she's giving them a gold star. But there's something about, as well, it's like, because whatever they had, so maybe it's something about like children playing make believe, right? It's like, you know, they didn't have a superhero costume, so they just drew on a t-shirt, right? They drew the Superman badge on a t-shirt, something like that. And then it's like this person's like, I will buy you the real costume. So it could be somebody who, again, it's like, it's like wealth isn't everything, is it? And if this is like a child custody case, you know, again, it's kind of like maybe one parent, like they turn up at court and the kids have been with them, and it's like, you know, they spent a lot of money on them, they've bought them new clothes, you know, they look like they're being well cared for, but maybe like the emotional support or, you know, the true understanding of who they are as per, because it's like it's like they've not got heads right. It's like they're totally focused on like their achievements, perhaps, you know, like some people get very, very focused on like a child's grades, a child's achievements, and all these things look really good to like the court system and social services, right? It's like, well, that parent, you know, the kids have clean school uniform on, you know, they've got, you know, they've got the hair brushed, they've got their you know, they're making the grades, but you know, on the inside there could be something that's really lacking. You know, they could be lacking love, where, you know, the parent who's kind of, you know, sending them to school, they're kind of like looking a bit ragtag, right? Like they're showing up, they've got kind of got dirt behind their ear, they've not brushed their hair, you know, they're having a lot of fun, they're laughing, they're joking, but maybe they're not taking the grades so seriously. You know, maybe that parent's actually offering them a lot of emotional support, and maybe those children feel very secure in who they are as people, as who they are in individuals, but the court system's going, but they didn't have the hair brushed, they didn't, you know, they needed new shoes. So it's kind of like the ability for a parent to show up, and the ability for a parent to give love and support in different ways could be in question here, right? It's like you could have a kid with, again, it's like they've got the new shoes. You know, first day of school, the shoes are polished. They've got the hair in braids, but they could be so sad on the inside, right? And then like the kid runs in with like, you know, trainers where like, you know, laces are all undone, hair's a mess, big smile on the face. So, you know, like value can be attributed to different things. You know, some people see value as entirely financial and entirely to do with things. Other people see value in terms of experiences or feelings or confidence, you know, things that aren't so easily perhaps demonstrated on a piece of paper. So there could be something like that, but there's something really, maybe this is very well intentioned of this person, but there's something that doesn't feel right, because can you see one of them is being lit up and the other one is still playing. So again, it's this idea of kind of like one person's being rewarded while one person's not, even though they've shared the workload. It's like they showed up equally with this Two of Pentacles. They had one each, and yet this person's getting the gold star and this person's kind of still in shadow. There's something not right. So then you go into this conflict. Again, it's kind of like it's almost designed to come between these two people, is the way I'm seeing it, because you have this card here with this person kind of, it's like giving this person the carrot or the piece of cake or the gold star or the piece of cheese, right? It's like they're shining the spotlight on one of these two children who are equal, in order to kind of create some kind of conflict, which is kind of like making them turn their backs on each other, right? It's like making them fall out. It's making them go into two different directions. So it feels like some sort of offer that's designed to, because you literally have, where is it? Like somebody used to be, yeah, you literally have someone's trying to come between you and a friend or something that you want. And then, so again, it's looking to me, you know, like I was saying, it's kind of like, don't wear your wealth. because he's here, he's kind of like, he's in all the kind of like fancy robes. In this case, the kind of like red robes, purple actually, because he does look like a Roman soldier. And I was talking about the purple fabric. So if a Roman had a purple sash or a purple cloak, they were very important. They were probably like not only the senator, they were probably like the first among equals, right? They were probably like the emperor, because the purple was so valuable and rare. So it was used as a mark to really distinguish them from kind of the common crowd. This idea of kind of like wearing wealth, and drawing attention to yourself through your clothing, right? So these people are all dressed quite barely. Again, maybe these kind of look like, it kind of looks like the Romans and the Gauls or something, right? It's like they're all dressed in quite simple clothing, quite practical clothing. I don't know if you can see this very well. Sorry, the light's not great. He's there decked out in kind of like his Roman attire. He's got his like red robes on, kind of look a bit silky to me. He's got this kind of gold breastplate on, and he's sleeping because it's the Four of Swords. This is talking about having a time out, having a rest, kind of like cooling your heels. I don't use the phrase cooling your heels, so that could be something specific to your reading. If somebody around you says that, that's not my phrase. That was a psychic phrase, and I've heard it, but it's not something that I would normally say. So it's looking to me again. It's kind of like, you know, the mother sending the kid to school with like expensive trainers on, or the mother sending the kid to school with a fancy watch, or because it's like, I want to show this kid, um I want to show that my kid's better than all the other kids, or I want to make my kids stand out, and like other people to kind of like, like peer pressure. It's kind of like, I want other kids to think, oh, that kid's cool. So again, it feels like it's good intentions, but it's actually provoking, with it being the Five of Swords, it's actually provoking some envy or some aggression, because this is looking to me like they want to steal it, right? They want to steal the shiny breastplate, the shiny badge. It's like they want it, right? He's sleeping, we're going to take it while he's sleeping, something like that. So it could be something like, your kids walking home from school, they sit down on a park bench, they're on it could be a phone as well. It could be like they've got the latest iPhone. They sit down on a bench, they're on the phone, checking the messages, a gang of kids come up and they want to steal the phone. So just be super duper careful again in October. Maybe you need to sit down with your kid and say, look, maybe don't take that to school, or if you're out and about, don't check who's around you before you use your phone. It's kind of like, the person who's flashing the money is the one who's going to get robbed, that sort of thing. So just the idea of kind of like be understated, blend in. And then here as well, so it really is looking to me like, sorry, I've got cat hair everywhere now. The Four of Cups into the Five of Cups. The Five of Cups is a disappointment, and the Four of Cups is, um, it's like somebody's trying to make an offer here. Somebody's trying to come in with some kind of offer, but these people don't want to take the offer. So again, it's kind of like, it's something to do with, sorry, it's something to do with like, because you and this person, right, you are like this energy, you're like hand in hand energy. What happens to you happens to them, something like that. If they're comfortable, you're comfortable. If they're happy, you're happy, and vice versa, right? If you're happy, they're happy, right? It's like there's something very equal and balanced and shared about you. So it could be the sort of, maybe this is a best friend, right? It's like a best friend, and you've known them for your whole life. You're like siblings, and maybe you've got a really good job for a phase of, a year of your life where you're getting a lot of bonuses. You're doing really, really well. So you're like, let me help you out. I can see you're struggling at the moment. Let me spend some money on you. Let me take you out. Let me treat you. Let me buy you the things that you need. Let me help you out with kind of like buying your kids uniform, because it's like, they do the same for you, right? And another year the table turns with like the wheel. It's like fortune turns. Is the wheel underneath that as well? No, the hermit and the wheel, right? So it's like knowing that a change is coming, something like that, preparing for change. It's the same as well, like they get a winning lottery ticket one week, and they're like, oh, I know that you're struggling to pay bills, I want to pay you back for when you help me out. So it's very equal, right? With all this balance, could be a Libra. You've got a huge amount of Libra. Two of Pentacles is Libra. It's funny, it's the Two of Wands. I'm reading it as Two of Pentacles, I think, because the Two of Pentacles is here. But again, the Two and Three of Wands is like, the Two of Wands is like weighing up a decision. Three of Wands is like waiting for your ships to come in. So very similar meaning either way. A lot of this weighing up. So much Libra in your reading. So yeah, it's kind of like balancing the scales, right? You and this person are very good at balancing the scales between you, right? You don't need legal intervention, right, with this person, right? You don't need a third party to come in and kind of like weigh things out for you. It's like you can do it. It's kind of like you know, if you have a bag of sweets and they have a bag of sweets, but you've got 20 sweets and they've got 5 sweets, it's like you're going to sit there and you're going to share it out, right? So it's like you're very good at sorting this out between yourselves. You don't need the legal intervention. And yet there does seem to be this third party that's interfering. And again, it's kind of like they're trying to give you some kind of offer, but it's kind of like they're only offering it to one of you. Can you see it's like coming into this girl here? It's like the one on the right. The one on the right is receiving this distinction or offer or something. And so it's actually causing you and this person who you get along very, very well with to kind of, it's not that you're turning your back on each other. It feels a little bit like you're turning your back on the offer, right? It's like you've both turned your back on the offer because, you know, it's almost like you see the conflict with it, right? You see that it's... you see that there's strings attached, so you both turn your back on this offer. Maybe it's because it's coming from a specific person, and you know what this person's like, or you know that this person's doing this in order to kind of like create some conflict between you. But in the process of both turning your back on this offer, it's like you've turned your back on each other. It's almost like you have to walk away from the offer, and in doing so, you have to walk away from each other for a period of time. It's like you have to kind of, it's like you're being forced to go into 2 different directions because... like if the offer is, if the only options you have is take the offer or walk away from each other, take an offer that comes with conflict. Take an offer that's designed to make an equal situation unequal. It's like the only thing left to do is kind of like both walk away from it and both walk away from each other in order to kind of like rebalance the scales. Something like that, because then he's like walking off, right? And his sword's broken. So it's making me think, I don't know if any of you know that there's a computer game called Broken Sword. And I'm super excited because I've played all of them. And there's a new game coming out. I think it's coming out next year. And I'm so excited for it. Like, I'm well up for that. So it's because his sword's broken, right? It's like Broken Sword. So it's kind of like he's had to... It's almost like... I don't know, because clearly there has been fighting here. You can kind of see... the aftermath of a fight. So the 5 of Swords is the conflict, and then the 6 of Swords is always moving on. It's like moving away from conflict. So the conflict, you haven't actually got the 5 of Swords, right? You've got the 4 of Swords and wait, yes, this is the 5 of Swords. Okay, I correct myself. I want to say it could be that you've walked away from a conflict, like you've walked away from something that is conflicting or that is causing... the 5 of Swords is kind of like a disagreement of ideas, a difference of opinion. It can be verbal fighting. So there's some kind of like verbal conflict or conflict of interest, or it's a card called Win at All Costs. It's like, I'm not prepared to win at all costs here. I'm not prepared to sacrifice this relationship in order to win this contract or to win this legal battle. So the only thing left to do is kind of like walk away. I want to say you both are, because this is the male figure kind of walking away, and here the female figure is kind of, she absolutely has her back turned to this Ace of Cups. Whatever this is, again, like in Aries' reading, it feels like it's got strings attached. It feels like, you know, it's not, this offer isn't being made from a trustworthy place, with it being this skeleton hand, right? It's kind of like you see, it looks like the hand of God, but it's not, right? There's something not right about it. So she's not interested in that either. So again, it's kind of like walking away from a conflict, walking away from an offer that's designed to create conflict. Again, if this is a legal situation, which I'm getting really strongly, it could be something that's being tried to, you're trying to settle something out of court. You don't really want it to go to court. So it could be, again, it could be you and this other person trying to, perhaps it's something to do like inheritance, right? You and a sibling, you've got some kind of inheritance. You don't want it to come between you. So if an offer's being made that's kind of favoring one person, it's kind of like you're both walking away. Neither of you are accepting that offer, because the only offer that you're going to accept is the one that's fair and equal, and that you're, hopefully going to agree on, is the way that I'm seeing this going. So you have this King of Cups into the Page of Cups. It actually came out in the reverse. So if I read it as the Page of Cups into the King of Cups, it's like maturing very, very quickly. Or maybe something that's like a small offer. It could be like an apology even, but very, very quickly, that small drop gains a lot of depth. So it's kind of this quick emotional maturing. It's like having to mature very, very quickly in terms of like your emotional capacity, emotional maturity. The page into the king in like an instant. There could also be this idea of like the grandfather figure, the grandfather and the child. Again, it's kind of like, it feels a bit like what's being offered is the child, right? It's like the child is the thing that's being negotiated. The child is the Ace of Cups. This is making me uncomfortable again, because in the last reading, it was like, the story that was kind of coming through in the last reading was, and again, it feels like something that happened in the past, is like two people who, like almost like Romeo and Juliet, right? It's like they knew that if they had a child, the families were going to fight over that child, was the way it was coming through. So it's like they loved each other, they wanted to be together, they wanted to sleep together, but the consequence of that was a child that was the Ace of Cups, right? But the child was gonna be either taken from them by a king figure. In the last reading, it was the King of Pentacles. So in the last reading, it was like the King of Pentacles was going to take the child into some kind of institution. So again, it was almost like maybe one of the families, there was like a powerful father figure, a very wealthy father figure, who wanted to, who was like, right, I'll take the child and I'm going to send them away to private school. I'm going to send them to boarding school. So like or even like the King of Pentacles could be somebody involved in some kind of institution. It's kind of like this child was institutionalized, or this child was inducted into some kind of Hierophant energy, is the way it was coming through, but then like wanting to run away, right? Wanting to escape. Like I know a lot of children who go into the care system, especially teenagers, they do this, right? Like the first opportunity, they've run away from the foster cat family and back to somebody from the past who they feel safe with, or that they feel an affinity with. So there could definitely be something like that happening for you. Hopefully, I mean, I hate anything when there's like children involved, because it can be hard to deliver these messages, because it's such an emotional situation, right? It's such like everybody has emotions involved in this, or it's like everybody has a hand in this child's future. Everybody has differences of opinions of like what's best for that child, and the child can get kind of almost ping-ponged around in the middle of that, which is so unfair. But again, it feels like almost like the parents of the child feel very cooperative to me in this instance. Again, it may be different for each of you as an individual, but it does feel like whoever the two are, they feel like they're on the same page, right? They feel very like they cooperate well with each other. It feels more like maybe like a grandparent interference, or family interference, or even like the justice system interfering in this child's future. So then I do see that there's an end to this situation. There is a betrayal, there is a stabbing in the back. Now, I don't know if it's the case that even though it looks like neither of you are taking this offer, um, perhaps finally one of you does take the offer, because we have the reading ends with the Ace of Cups and the Two of Cups. So again, no, sorry, not keep reading it as the Two of Cups because there's two hands in its cups. The Knight of Cups, right? So with it looking like the Ace of Cups and this shaking hands, it's like somebody does take the cup and they shake hands, right? It's kind of like, if this is a court situation, again, it could be like an out of court settlement. It's like finally they come to you with a good offer, right? Finally they come to you with, because it's an overflowing cornucopia. So it's kind of like finally they come to you with, an acceptable offer, with an offer that's, it's almost like it's too good, right? It's too much, because I want to say you've held it out, because there's this always like holding out energy. So again, it's kind of like this offer. It could be like the third offer, right? So you hold out on this Four of Cups, you hold out on this Four of Cups, you get this like full cornucopia in the end, because it's like the first offer is driving a wedge between you. The second offer is, it's like it's clearly not a good offer, right? Like it's bone dry or something. The third offer is the abundant one. Like this is the good offer where you finally shake hands, and reach an agreement. And again, I can't quite tell if it's you and this person. But with the Ten of Swords, I mean, the Ten of Swords is telling me, right? So it's almost like this, right? It's like the Ten of Swords is an ending to this situation. It's choppy waters. There's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of stress, a lot of mental kind of demands here. Like I say, the Ten of Swords does feel like being stabbed in the back. It does feel like et tu Brute, like I can't believe you would do that to me. So again, I can't tell if this is somebody that you thought was a Two of Cups and like you can't believe that they're actually taking that offer, or if this is a case of like you and them holding out until a good offer is made. Really does feel like the justice system is involved in some sort of way. Again, it could be like the divine justice system, right? Like the angels. But I do want to say that somebody's getting, it's like they're getting the money's worth, or they're getting something of equal value. The funny thing is, it almost feels like, because you've got this energy of like the Ace of Cups, it's almost like the child is the offer, right? So again, it could be that the only offer you were willing to accept was full custody of the child, right? It's like then you get the full custody of the child. Or it could be that, okay, so you're not going to have, because it's like, it's almost like the fruit is equal weight to the child. So it's kind of like, getting money instead of the child. So it could even be something like, because why would you get reimbursed for a child? So the only thing that I can think of is surrogacy, right? It's like, which would explain why the institution was there waiting to take the child, after these two people kind of after these two people had the baby, the institution was there to take the child away, and then like you're being like recompensed, like you're being given money that's the equivalent of the value of the child, which I don't like that idea of like a child having value, because how do you value a human life, right? It's something quite sickening of that to me. But the only thing I can think of is surrogacy, like paid surrogacy, where maybe somebody has second thoughts, maybe somebody wants to take the child, maybe it's surrogacy and it is something about twins, right? It could be something legal, like somebody got pregnant as a surrogate and they agreed to um carry one child for, I don't know, surrogacy money, like £20,000, right? I will be the surrogate mother. I will carry your child for £20,000, but they get pregnant with twins. And they're like, okay, you were going to give me £20,000 to carry one child for you. I'm pregnant with twins. So you can take one child for 20,000. The second child, either I'm going to keep that second child and raise them as my own, or you need to pay me another 20,000, because it could be something like that, which that's not going to be everybody's story, right? It's a very, very unusual, unique situation, but it could be for one of you. Okay, the readings get so interesting. I get such like unique stories from them. So the song that was playing when I started your reading was Paint the Town Red, I think it's called. It's one of Doja Cat's. I think it's Doja Cat's new song. So I've got fluff all over my phone now as well. Let me just, because I want to show you this image. So there was all this imagery in your last reading of like this kind of like ghostly figure stood behind this woman. And I think it was just, sometimes I get messages about stuff that's happening in kind of like media. So I think actually it was just kind of like telling me about Doja Cat's new song. So that's, I've not included that in the reading, but if that's symbolic for you in some sort of way, I did kind of want to show you, because I was like, there's the imagery that was coming out in the last reading. But having said that, there is spooky, I mean, we're going into spooky season, right? It's October. I don't know, maybe dressing up as a skeleton, maybe dressing up as a monster, because the song that randomized for you was Vampire by Olivia Rodrigo. So I'm going to read the lyrics of this. And again, all the songs that came through for you, either intuitively or through Spotify, are going to be on in the description box down below. You can go and have a listen to them, go and watch the videos, see if anything jumps out at you, use your intuition, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. So it says, hate to give the satisfaction, asking how you're doing now. How's the castle built off people you pretended to care about? So again, remember I was talking about building up a house, but like something about the foundations, right? And the idea of kind of like the pillars of the house being made up of pound coins, which could be easily knocked over. So how's the castle built off people you pretend to care about? Just what you wanted. Look at you, cool guy, you got it. I see the parties and the diamonds sometimes when I close my eyes. That again, that thing about closing my eyes, right? 6 months of torture you sold as some forbidden paradise. I loved you truly. Got to laugh at the stupidity. Again, that idea of like a wolf in sheep's clothing, right? Or a wax. I don't know if that word means anything. It came out accidentally. Sometimes when I fumble words, it actually means something. I'm sorry if it's a rude word or anything insulting. I don't know it. Yeah, the idea of kind of like the fox, the wolf in fox's clothing, right? So it's like, you know, they're out for themselves perhaps, but they something about a fox looking very, very fancy, right? Like the fox looks very attractive. Got to laugh at the stupidity because I've made some real big mistakes, but you make the worst one look fine. I should have known it was strange. You only come out at night. I used to think I was smart, but you made me look so naive. The way you sold me for parts as you sunk your teeth into me. Bloodsucker, fame fucker, bleeding me dry like a goddamn vampire. Again, this idea of like bleeding me dry, like, you know, the court system getting money out of somebody. And every girl I ever talked to told me you were bad. But you called them crazy. God, I hate the way I called them crazy too. You're so convincing. So it's kind of like, oh yeah, all my crazy exes. But, you know, the exes are crazy because he made them crazy. You know, it's like, because, I don't know. How do you lie without flinching? What a mesmerizing, paralyzing, fucked up little thrill. I can't figure out just how you do it, and God knows I never will. Went for me and not her, because girls your age know better. Again, that thing about the young girl, right? I've made some real big mistakes, but you were the worst one. I've made some real big mistakes, but you make the worst one look fine. I should have known it was strange. You only come out at night. I used to think I was smart, but you made me look so naive, the way you sold me for parts. You said it was true love, but wouldn't that be hard? You can't love anyone, because that would mean you had a heart. I tried to help you out, and now I know that I can't. Because how you think Because how you think's the kind of thing I'll never understand. So let's get one more song to kind of close out this reading. So what do we have, please, for Taurus for October? Taurus for October, the song that's going to do the highest amount of good. Actually, do you know what I'm on? Do I want to stay on this? I'm on suggested songs. I think it's the, you know, when it's like the new releases, Spotify puts together. Yeah, we'll just go with that. Normally I randomize from my like songs playlist. It's like 3,000 songs. So I literally do not know what we're going to get. I may not be familiar with the song. Okay, I got an advert. Hold on, it's, if I close it and reopen it, it'll kind of, Sprinter, Dave, Central C. I don't know the artist, it's just Dave. And then the other artist is Central C, Kilika Sprinter. The man dem too, inconsiderate 5-star hotel smoking cigarette, mixing codeine up with the Phenergan. So again, there could be somebody with some kind of addiction. She got thick, but she want to get thin again. Drinking apple cider vinegar, wearing skim because she want to be Kim. And, oh, all right, I know that you're bad. Stop acting innocent. We ain't got generational wealth. Generational wealth, there you go. That's come back up again. See, again, I had no idea about this song. Don't know the artist. Don't know the song. Don't have a clue. Absolutely, like, a brand new randomized song for me. It's only a year that I've had these millions. My whip could have been, this again, somebody could be after somebody's money. My whip could have been in the Tokyo Drift because it's fast and furious. Went from the Toyota Yaris to Urus. They had their chance but blew it. Again, this person sounds like they're showing off the wealth, right? It's kind of like they're all about how much money they have. Very new money, it feels, you know. Now this girl wanting me in her uterus. F it, I'm rich, let's do it. God, don't have a baby. Just don't. It's like gold digger money. Like, she'll take your money. I don't know. It just seems like a really bad situation to bring a child into where, you know, it's like you're having a child in order to access somebody's money, you know, in order to get, I don't know. There's something really gross about this reading. Again, it could be something from the past. Take a look at these diamonds wrong. It's a life of squinting. Just can't stare with Bay through thick and thin. It's more than money, right? It's like bringing a child into a situation. Like, money is great, you know, money can open a lot of doors and really kind of look after that kid. But if you're having a kid because fuck it, you know, are you really going to love it? Are you going to be prepared to give it the emotional support it needs as it goes through life? And it needs, you know, it needs a wise figure to kind of give it good feedback. Or are you just going to be a fair weather parent? I'm not saying you, I'm saying whoever this is in your reading, right? And again, it could be something from the past. With Bay through thick and thin, she already thick, so I'm halfway there. Brown and bad, couldn't change my mind, I was halfway there. 100 meters, I just put 9 gal in a sprinter. 100 eaters, they won't fit into one SUV. Like, I get it, right? I assume this is a rap song. It's talking about, like, black culture. I don't want to be derogatory, right? I actually see rap as an art. Obviously, I'm a little white girl, but you know, I was lucky enough that my stepmother took me to see A Midsummer Night's Dream. I was thinking about this last night, like how lucky I was to have a stepmother figure who took me to watch Shakespeare when I was 11, you know. Like, that is, like, my mum never took me to watch Shakespeare, right? Like, I love my mum to pieces, but that just wasn't the opportunity she was giving me. Like, my stepmom, when I was younger, like, she showed me a different path, a different way to be, right? And I love things like the RSC, how you know, they're trying to open Shakespeare up to different audiences that perhaps wouldn't traditionally have found that accessible. You know, maybe people would be like, oh, Shakespeare, that's for rich white men, where actually the RSC, the Royal Shakespeare Companies, really kind of democratizing Shakespeare, which I think is brilliant. So I've always really loved rap music, and coming from, and I know this sounds really snobby of me, and I don't really mean it to, and I am self-aware, but please listen to what I'm trying to say, because it's kind of like people see Shakespeare as this kind of like heightened language. They see it as something that's like very like highbrow, very it's like we respect that, right? That is something worthy of respect. where we see rap culture and hip hop culture as things that are really, really lowbrow. They're almost kind of like people can be very derogatory about them. Now, I studied humanities and with a specialism in literature, and I spent a whole year studying Shakespeare. And one of the things that I was going to do when I left university that I was considering was being a teacher. And I always said, if I'm an English teacher, I would teach the techniques used in Shakespeare using rap music because I think it's more accessible to. I mean, it depends on the school, right? But for the majority of the population, I think rap music is something that people understand, right? Everybody tends to have a favorite rap song, whether it's something kind of like Baby's Got Back or Fresh Prince of Bel Air. Everyone has at least one rap song that they like bop to. I think. Um, but you know, a lot of the techniques used in the rhythm and the rhyme of Shakespeare, things like assonance, which is, uh, you know, is so you have rhyme, right? The end of the line rhymes, which is a very, very basic form of rhyming. But then you find people like Eminem, who and I know Eminem's white, right? I'm just, again calling myself out, but I always said I would teach Shakespeare using Lose Yourself because the sounds of the words and the repetition of those sounds, that's assonance, right? A technical this is a technique used in highbrow poetry, highbrow literature, and it's used as well in rap songs, right? So again, I really, really love how my own personal course, they taught the things that people consider classics, right? But they also taught things like Langston Hughes and the sounds of that poetry. And I think personally, I would give, you get, you can talk about quality. Not all rap music is created equal. You get people who are like, again, I think Eminem. I'm sorry that I'm picking you know, maybe I could pick like The Game or something. I really like the song You Could Do Anything to Make You Feel Special. Man, it's easy to see, special to me. So there you go. Special to me. Whether we're lovers or friends, we'll always be. I want you to know we're special. So I can definitely listen to that song and pick out techniques from that as well. And it's something that comes very, very naturally. I think the sounds in rap music, especially the assonance, like it comes so naturally to people who kind of like um, are naturally good at rapping. And why do we value that in people like Shakespeare and we don't value it in people like I mean, I think Eminem is obviously a very accredited artist, but like why are those two genres not treated equally when they're using the exact same techniques? I want to say, and maybe it is. You could argue maybe it's the content, and maybe this is why you got Doja Cat as well, because um, there's there's some debate about female rap artists, because you get these brilliant rap artists like I don't know, Cardi B, Doja Cat, who else as well? Like uh, can't think of a name. Who did Doja Cat do? You're my best friend. You're my real bad bitch. Like there's so many, right? And the gaining popularity, and a lot of the lyrics of these female rap artists, they're saying the exact same thing, the same culture, the same attitude as the male rap artists. But when a male says it, right, especially in rap music, people find it more acceptable to be like, oh, hoes and money. But when a woman's saying these things, she's got the exact same attitude to sex and to wealth and, that lifestyle. People are like, oh, you're a woman though, you can't say that. So not everybody, right? But there is a cultural debate around that. It's not hard to go and find that discourse on the internet. Yeah, and it's like, why do we celebrate when a man has this attitude and we um we see it as something that a woman shouldn't do, you know, like we call a woman names if she acts like that. So all this, I'm talking about this because it could definitely be something for, maybe it's just one of you, right? Maybe it's just one of you. Maybe you're a woman in rap, um, a black woman in rap. And so again, like the importance of saying, um, it's making me think of the Aries readings, right? I had this, it really stuck with me. There's certain readings that stick with me. And it had this thing about, it was like a black woman going into to university to study a course where everyone else was like a white man, and thinking, do I belong here? Did I make the right decision? Um, and it's like that. It's like going into a classroom where everybody's studying Shakespeare. Like everybody's using the same techniques, right? Everybody's using the same tools. Everybody's learning about assonance and alliteration and rhyme schemes. And yet you could go in and you could put down a piece of rap music. You could rap Shakespeare, right? You could rap Shakespeare. So it's kind of like there's no difference really, other than, you know, Shakespeare's using old-timey language and, you know, saying things in a fancy way, but rap music does that. You know, the sentence structure of a rap song, you know, like the words get flipped around in order to kind of like make it fit the rhythm better. So they do the exact same techniques. It's crazy. It's crazy that people like culturally have very different attitudes to these things. Anyway, uh let's just read a little bit more of this. See, I've got it myself because it's like the words feel wrong in my mouth, right? This isn't how I talk. So I feel strange sometimes, because as well, like you do sometimes get derogatory language or maybe like what feels to me like controversial language when you read in rap music. It doesn't mean that it's a different perspective, right? Let's take away the idea of right and wrong and just be like perspective and culture. Um, Brown and bad, couldn't change my mind. I was halfway there. 100 meters, I just put 9 gallon sprinter. 100 eaters, they won't fit in one SUV. Nah, SOS, somebody rescue me. I got too many gal. I got too many gal. They can last me the next 2 weeks. Her, all right, send the address through, please. SUV, the white, the outside white, the inside brown, like Michael Jack. More time, ma'am, build a line and trap. Spend like I don't even like my stack. So spending money like he doesn't even like it. It's like he's trying to get rid of the money, like he's spending money so fast. It's like he doesn't want it. Pistol came on an Irish ferry. Let go, and it sound like a tap dance. Ugh. Sorry, I don't like. I don't like it. Right? I don't like it. I don't want to condone gun violence. The way that I ball, no yellow. The rough heifer give me a black card. Who did what we doing with rap? It sounds ridiculous reading this out, right? I know. Man couldn't sell out his show after all them years of doing the cap. They all kind of sound the same, right? Like not all of them, a lot. Let's just say a lot. I mean, I've not listened. Like, okay, calling myself out, really, 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 really questioning my own reaction there. I listen to rap music, right? I grew up listening to Salt and Pepper, right? I loved Salt and Pepper. I was talking about Sex Baby when I was too young to really be talking about Sex Baby. But I saw it as a very, very positive female role model, them as a very positive female role model, because, it was like, let's talk about sex. Why shouldn't a woman experience pleasure? So there was a lot of positive value that I took from that, and things like Madonna as well. I saw them as like uh, really healthy women's sexual liberation role models, and that doesn't mean that I've been. I think knowledge is power, and when you have knowledge, you get to choose, right, what you do with your body. So I've been very selective, right, with my partners, and that's my choice, and I don't disrespect women who choose to have a lot of sexual partners and to have a lot of fun with their bodies, right? It's all about personal choice and personal empowerment, and having role models who are very sexually confident and expressive, to me is a positive thing. It doesn't mean that you have to, it's like I can listen to a song and not choose to adopt the entire lifestyle. I can pick and choose about what elements work for me. So I do have a lot of rap music on my playlist, which is probably why that song was suggested. And things like Doja Cat, you know, the sounds and the rhythm of rap music. I've got Eminem's "Lose Yourself" on there. Like, I do think it's an art form. I do think certain rap songs are masterpieces, right? And again, as somebody who studied and broke down Shakespeare, and understands those techniques, for me to say they're using the same techniques, if Romeo and Juliet, well, not Romeo and Juliet, it's kind of not one of his best plays. If Richard II or Hamlet are a masterpiece, then so is Lose Yourself, so is Special by the Game, right? So is Baby Got Back, because they're using the same the same tools, the same techniques, the same. You can take an academic approach to both that works the same way. Like, one does not have more value than another. It's just different cultures, right? Where am I going with this? Why am I waffling on about this? What was my point? So for me to go, oh, they all sound the same, right? Somebody could have that about Shakespeare, somebody could have that about rap music. You can have one person who's not familiar with Shakespeare and be like, it just sounds like word vomit, right? It sounds like word spam. I don't understand what it means. It all sounds the same. It's boring to me. And you could have someone say that about rap music, right? It's all the same. Like, every single song is about like getting loads of women, getting loads of men, you know, putting on your bling, buying a fast car. It's like the subject matter is very samey. But I haven't listened to the song, right? I haven't listened to the music. I haven't listened to the sounds and the way it's presented. I could listen to that song and be like, that is one of the best rap songs I've ever heard. Because it's a full package kind of deal. So again, it's kind of like you can sit there and read Shakespeare, you can sit there and read through the lines and be like, what is it talking about? Similar to like me reading the rap song, I'm just kind of like reading words off a page, right? I don't understand half of what it's saying to me. So again, like that approach to Shakespeare, like you can sit there and be like, what is this talking about? But when you see it performed on a stage, right? When you hear the performer singing the rap song, when you watch the music video, when you get the full package, when you sit there in a theatre and you watch a live performance of Shakespeare with a very talented actor who can really bring those words to life and really act out what those words are trying to convey, it can be a very, very different experience. You could come out of a Shakespeare play and be like, I love Shakespeare, that's one of the best things I've ever seen, right? Because it's been done well. So there's something in that for you. I don't know what it is for you as an individual. Could be something about Taurus energy, because Taurus is the Hierophant as well. Taurus is the Hierophant is kind of like the guy who dictates the culture, right? He's learned from the people who came before him. He's learned from his ancestors. He's traditional. He's the Hierophant symbolizes things like government, even like churches, educational institutions. So this could be not a personal message for you, the viewer. It could be something going on with Taurian Hierophant energy in general, where it's kind of like, you know, we might be seeing changes to political institutions or the mindset of politics or church or education to be more inclusive, to value things in a different way, rather than seeing it as something to be dismissed. Actually seeing that that changes need to be made, because we can't have one rule for one and one rule for the other, right? We have to apply things equally. So there could definitely be something about, especially as when Pluto goes, I think it's like the end of October, Pluto's finally going to stop being retrograde. Hang on. Okay, yeah, so what am I saying? I don't even know. I don't know. Maybe I need to leave it there. Oh, Pluto. Pluto's going retrograde in Capricorn. It's been in Capricorn for years. It's a big change maker. It's kind of a Pluto going through a sign is a bit like a black hole moving through the universe and kind of like shaping an architect, like being an architect of the universe. Pluto comes with destruction and deep introspection, deep, like almost like inquisitor energy into whatever house it's in. And it's been in Capricorn, which is a very, very traditional sign. So, similar to the Hierophant, it can come with things like reputation, kind of traditional structures, traditional institutions. And Pluto's been doing this deep dive and kind of like really kind of like tearing away and causing those tower moments to anything that isn't fit for purpose anymore, anything that shouldn't stand anymore. Pluto's been rolling through and kind of like addressing those problems in Capricorn, the house of Capricorn. It's going to have finished doing its work, that big cleanup job. It's going to have finished that by the end of October. And then we're going to start to see some progress as it goes forward facing again. And it's going to move in out of Capricorn for the final time of this period. And it's going to go into Aquarius, and it's going to be moving forward in Aquarius for a number of years, for quite a long time. And we're going to see some big changes with that as well. I want to say changes to technology, changes, societal changes. Aquarius rules kind of sociology, bigger picture thinking, greater good, technology as well. So a lot of innovations to do with society, I think we're going to have with Pluto and Aquarius. I'm really looking forward to it because it's going to be really, there's going to be a lot of change for the better, I think. And changes to political systems especially, I think, is going to be really, really good for the collective energy. It's kind of a great good energy. We may even see stuff like almost like a revolution, like an uprising of the people, I want to say, over the next number of years. Again, it's kind of like taking the power out of the hands of the few and redistributing it to the greater population, which I think is needed, because I think that we've had a phase of certain people in our society, taking more than their fair share, and we've seen a lot of people kind of at the bottom of the pyramid kind of struggling, and it's not right. So this idea of kind of like redistributing the wealth in society and making things more equal and making things more fair and making things better for everyone, I think it's time for that. So I'm really excited, even though it's going to come with some turbulence. It's going to be better for everybody at the end of it. So yeah, I'm going to go. I hope this has been really helpful to you. Really interesting reading, so thank you for sharing your energy with me. Of course, as always, leave me a like if this resonated. It helps me with feedback. And if there's anything you want to say in the comments as well, feel free to kind of share. I sometimes I respond, sometimes I don't, but I do read all the comments. So thank you so much to anyone who's ever left a comment, even if it's negative feedback, constructive feedback. I take it on board, or I at least acknowledge it, or so thank you for that. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave that there. I'm tired. I find the reading so draining. Okay, take care. I'm going into Gemini next, so probably gonna be bouncing off the walls for a while. I will see you again soon. Take care of yourselves, Taurus. Bye, friends. Really do, actually, again, like, have your wits about you in October. There's a car driving past and its boot is wide open and it hasn't got anything. Sometimes people will drive with like a carpet sticking out, like they can't shut the boot. For some reason, this car's just driving with the boot open. That maybe that's a warning as well. In October, make sure you lock your car properly. Make sure you're locking your doors properly, your windows if you're going out. Just have your wits about you in October. Take care. See you again soon. Bye, friends. Okay, sorry, Taurus, I'm back. So there's a bit of noise outside, just ignore it. I just want to really quickly show you, like, can you see it's like 1, 2, 3, 4 on the timestamp? That shows progress. So there's something about progress in your reading. I was looking up this rapper. So his birth name is David Orobosa Umareji. He was born 5th of June, so I think that is going to make him a Gemini, actually. Is that right? End of June would be Cancer, I think. So beginning of June, I think he's Gemini. He's known as Santan Dave or just Dave. He's an English rapper, and his parents are Nigerian, from the Edo religion. Am I pronouncing that right? Edo religion, ethnic group, not religion. So sorry, guys. So it says he was born in Brixton. His parents are Nigerian. His father is a pastor and his mother is a nurse. It says that, talking about kind of being separated from parents, it actually says that his father was deported to Nigeria when he was just a few months old due to visa issues. He had believed he was traveling on a missionary visa, but was actually on a visitor's visa. And his mother fled with his brothers in fear of also being deported, and was not reunited with Dave until 3 months later. The family were then left homeless for a period and lived on South London's buses. So his older brothers got into some criminal activity and were prosecuted by the court system. But Dave actually attended college, and he did quite well. He completed. He studied law, philosophy, and ethics. I'm reading from Wikipedia. He studied at college law, philosophy, and ethics, while also completing an additional module in sound design and politics. And he actually secured a place at university, but chose instead to pursue his music career. And he's actually a very, very accredited artist. It says he's gained acclaim for his socially conscious lyricism and wordplay. So that bit, the socially conscious lyricism, really was interesting to me. It's like we need to listen, right? We need to listen to people who have something to say, because society is not fair. Yeah, really, really interesting. That person should come out for you, because I think there is a little bit about his story that could be applied to your reading. So again, I hope this is really, really helpful to you. Best of luck out there. Yeah, let's all try and be a little bit less snobby about things, and try and embrace different backgrounds to ourselves and different perspectives to ourselves, because I think it's important to kind of listen to each other and improve as a whole, and not just kind of knuckle down onto our own perspective. Like we want this energy, right? We want the handshake energy, and we don't want to turn our backs to each other. So yeah, I hope this is helpful. Do take care of yourselves, and yeah, as always, I'll see you again soon. Bye, friends.